Hi, I'm Joe Crea. I'm a member of USGBC's Marketing and Communications Department. I'm here with Mike Boots. He chairs the White House's Council on Environmental Quality. It's the body that oversees the federal government's efforts to become more sustainable. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
What kind of progress has been made in the past 6 years, and what are you most proud of?
Well, one of the things folks don't often realize is the size and scale of the federal government's operations. And so early on, the president made clear that we needed to ask the federal government to lead by example. If we're asking folks around this country to really contribute when it comes to tackling climate change and sustainability, we need to do the same thing within the federal government. And so he issued an executive order early on that set clear targets on energy, water, greenhouse gas emissions. And our job at CEQ was to corral the federal agencies to deliver on those goals. And so what I'm most proud of is actually being able to move something as big and wide as the federal government in that direction. We've been able to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions by 17% since 2008. We've been able to reduce our potable water use by 19% since 2007. We've been able to transition our electricity sources to renewable energy. 9% of our electricity now comes from that. All in the right direction. And one of the things we most need is to get federal agencies to start asking the right questions and start measuring what they're able to do and not do so that we can manage and get closer to those targets that the president set.
Are there specific metrics that you use to measure progress?
Well, one of the things we realized is that, again, we needed agencies and departments across the federal government to be asking the right questions that, frankly, they hadn't been asking before. And the targets the president set were pretty clear and numeric. And so one of the things we've done since then is force every agency to come up with adaptation and sustainability plans for themselves so that they set some metrics that make sense for their departments and their agencies. And then every year, we at CEQ, in partnership with the Office of Management and Budget, provide scorecards for those folks and really kind of grade them on red, yellow, green on how close they're getting, how much more work they need to do. It provides a great incentive. Nobody wants to be at the end of the pack, and we make that public and transparent, and that has been a big driver in getting agencies to up their performance on all of those metrics.
Finally, what are the CEQ's priorities for green buildings and healthy communities?
Well, almost everything we do is in support of trying to make communities more prosperous, safer, more resilient, more sustainable. Obviously, a lot of the work the president has been advancing in the last few years has been around climate change and climate resilience. And there are a few fronts on that effort. One is around trying to really reduce our emissions and really reduce our carbon footprint and work with communities around the country who are doing the same thing, kind of building off all of the leadership of mayors and county officials, governors, and others. And so we're taking steps within the federal government to do that in our own operations and using tools like energy savings performance contracts, the Better Buildings Challenge that we're doing with a whole variety of partners across the country to deliver on the carbon reduction side of things. And when it comes to resilience and preparedness, we are spending a lot of time with communities around this country trying to make sure that we're modernizing the way the federal government partners with them through our grant programs, through our regulatory work, through implementation of all of the programs that are meant to serve communities, both as they recover from disasters and as they plan ahead for the next one.
You mentioned resiliency. One final question. Are there certain game changers to help drive resiliency?
Well, so I get to chair the President's Task Force on Climate Resilience and Preparedness with a bunch of mayors and governors from around the country. And one of the great joys of that has been able to watch just how much leadership there is at the local level. And I think one of the game changers is just how many people out there are already implementing these actions. They're not waiting for anybody to either solve the question about what causes climate change or to debate the right tools to get there. They're taking action. They're seeing these impacts now. So more and more people like that kind of getting out ahead of the curve is hugely, hugely helpful. The other thing I think is a big game changer, which is continuing to evolve, is the latest science and information that can help these folks make decisions in real time. And so we are working at the federal government, but doing that in great partnership with the private sector to really unleash a lot of data, sea level rise data, projections that help them really figure out where to site that next energy facility, where to put their evacuation routes in a timely way and in a way that allows them to make decisions at a granular level that makes sense for their community.
Great. Thank you very much, Mike.
You bet. Thank you.